Shalom. This is GMS Holland Sit Downs coming back with a lesson. First off and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and the highest honor to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostle, great millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect out there spreading this word in sincerity and in truth. This video is gonna be named Israelites with Roman citizenship. Going in on the fact that just to start off with, the book of Romans is written to Israelites that were in Rome. These stupid ass Christians, these Edomites that want to justify that they can be saved, whatever, want to use that to say like, and what about the people in Rome? Throughout the New Testament, you read about people in Rome, which Romans are so-called white people. So so-called white people can be saved. But those were just Israelites with Roman citizenship. Just like how nowadays, I got the Dutch citizenship, man. But I'm not Dutch, man. Brothers that come from the Caribbean islands, we have Dutch citizenship, man. But we ain't Dutch, man. You see? So that doesn't mean anything. Nowadays, you see two brothers that are in America. They got American citizenship, right? But are they truly Americans? No. Before they came to America, they was in the West Africas. Before us Caribbean people came here to countries like Holland, Belgium, Germany, England. You got a lot of Jamaicans in England. Before we came there, or our parents, we was in the islands. So just like how it is now, it was back then. You had brothers that were in islands, the Greek islands. You had the island Kos. You had the islands Crete, Cyrene, Cilicia. You had all these Tarsus. You had all these islands, right? And places where Israelites dwelt, man. Just like how you got Israelites now that dwell all over the place, man. Back then it was the Roman Empire, and the Most High already said when Israelites came out of Egypt that if you would not keep the commandments, the Most High would scatter you. You see, so the scattered Israelites grew up in other countries outside of outside of Israel. So I was meditating upon this because we was going over it in the camp. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a video about this. So I just finished my food. So I was watching the Elder Apostle Aram Lab, and then he went into Roman citizenship. So that's the spirit, man. So I'm gonna touch on this point real quick. Go through the spirit and see where it leads us, man. Let me start off with Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. Let me see. This is Ecclesiastes 1 verse 9. It says, the thing that had been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. So back then you already had Israelites that were scattered, man. Back then you already had Israelites that were not in the land of Israel no more, but scattered throughout the countries round about, man. This is Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 26. I said I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. So the Israelites unto whom the Apostle Paul sent letters, they forgot who they were. They forgot that they were Israelites because the Most High made the remembrance of who they are in the sight of Yahweh Shem Yahushai and who they are as a race. He would make the remembrance of that to cease, and scatter them into all these countries, unto which a lot of letters of the Apostle Paul was reaching, man, unto whom he was preaching and where he went. Just like how we are dealing with brothers from other countries now, also, man. Us as GMS Holland, we predominantly deal with the brothers in Suriname. Because you got a lot of Surinamese people in Holland. We speak the same language. I mean, the brothers in Suriname speak the Dutch language also. So we majorly deal with them, But you got other brothers that, to say it on the dope, we are on a Spanish tip, man. They're on a Spanish tip, like the brother from Peru, the brother from Costa Rica, Mexico, and the brothers in GMS LA Española. They deal with each other, man. That's just how it goes. But they deal with each other even though that they are scattered. They are scattered, man, and that was already the case back then. And the scriptures speak about Jews from Asia, man. Let me see. Yeah, I know it starts talking about it in verse 10, but I believe there was more things happening prior to that verse. Anyway, it says Acts chapter 19 verse 10. And this continued by the space of 2 years, so that all they that dwelt in Asia heard the word of the Lord Yahushai, both Jews and Greeks, both Israelites that have Greek citizenship and Israelites that are just in Greece, but are have Israelite citizenship. For example, if I go and live in Suriname, I don't have a Surinamese citizenship. I have a Dutch citizenship. Therefore, they will call me a Dutch person. But that Surinamese guy, being in Suriname, being raised in Suriname, would be called a Surinamese guy. The same thing with the Jew that went to Greece and the Israelite that was already in Greece, raised in Greece. Because if we go into the word Greek there, it says Helen. It says Helen. Basically, yeah, the blue letter is going off here. But if we go into the meaning of Hellenen and Hellenistas, Hellenistic, you're gonna see that it's a Greek speaker, Israelite that speaks Greek, man. Anyway, I'm drifting off a little bit. Let's go into the lesson that I set up. Let me see. I'm gonna start with Acts chapter 22 verse 22. And they gave him audience unto this word, and then lifted up their voices and said, Away with such a fellow from the earth, for it is not fit that he should live. So this is the Israelites speaking concerning the Apostle Paul. They wanted to murder him, man, for preaching this truth. Verse 23, and as they cried out and cast off their clothes and threw dust into the air, the chief captain commanded him to be brought into the castle and bade that he should be examined by scourging. Now that's kind of funny. Yeah, it's not funny actually, but to be examined by scourging basically meaning let someone throw his hands on him, man. Basically torture session, beat the shit out of him. That's what it represents, being examined by scourging. Because if you look up the word scourging real quick, a whip, scourge, plague, calamity, misfortune, to discipline or punish sent by the Most High, scourging, a whip for criminals. You see, so basically beating him up, man. So it says the chief captain commanded him to be brought into the castle and bade that he should be examined by scourging, that he might know whereof they cried so against him. And as they bound him with thongs, Paul said unto the centurion. So Paul spoke against the centurion, that stood by. Paul said unto the centurion that stood by, is it lawful for you to scourge a man that is a Roman and uncondemned? When the centurion heard that, he went and told the chief captain, saying, take heed what thou doest, for this man is a Roman. Then the chief captain came and said unto him, tell me, art thou a Roman? He said, yeah. And the chief captain answered, with a great sum obtained I this freedom. And Paul said, but I was freeborn. Because this was the Roman Empire, man. And you got Israelites that were captive in amongst Romans, man, so being servants. But Paul said, I was born free, man. I wasn't no slave in Rome. I was a Roman citizen. I was a Roman, basically, man. Then straightway they departed from him, which should have examined him with the beatings. And the chief captain also was afraid, after he knew that he was a Roman, and because he had bound him. Now, if we go into Romans chapter 11, verse 11, it doesn't say he himself doesn't say that he's a Roman. Romans 11 and 1. I say then, had the Most High cast away his people? Yahweh forbid, for I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. So in Acts chapter 22, the Apostle Paul is referring to himself as a Roman because he was a Roman citizen, but his nationality was not a Roman. It was not an Edomite. He was not an Edomite. And that goes for all these verses wherein you see that Grecians or Gentiles are being spoken towards as if they are Israelites, man. And the reason that they are being spoken towards as if they are Israelites is because they are Israelites. You see? They are Israelites, man. So the Apostle Paul was a Roman citizen, but he was an Israelite living in Rome. The same as let me see. The same as here. This is Acts chapter 19, verse 10. And this continued by the space of 2 years, so that all day Slakia. Where am I reading, man? This is not what I'm looking for. Acts 18, yeah. Acts chapter 18, verse 1. And after these things, Paul departed from Athens and came to Corinth, and found a certain Jew named Aquila, born in Pontus, lately come from Italy, with his wife Priscilla, because that Claudius commanded all Jews to depart from Rome, and came unto them. So there was a certain period that Claudius Caesar was ruling. This faggot over here, flaming faggot, of course, these Romans, Edomites. So I'm gonna read this historical fact real quick to give you a vision of what was going on, man, and how the situation was back then. Of course, there were not only Israelites in Israel, man. Of course not. What happens when you for the brothers that are from the islands, man, if you grow up in the islands, eventually your brother or your sister or your cousins, they will leave the island, man. They will go to America or they will go to South America. You know, with America I meant the United States. They would go to the United States. They would go to South America. They would go to Europe, Holland, England. My uncle is in Germany. You know, my aunt and other uncles are in America. You know, the big Ak from the camp, he got family, he got brothers and sisters in America, Dominican Republic. Israelites, they move, man. You know, plus the Most High was scattering us, so it's double, man. It's double. So this is Wikipedia concerning Claudius' expulsion of Jews from Rome. Expulsion meaning basically kick them the fuck out. That's what expulsion is. To remove them from the land, from the country. Reference to expulsion of the Jews in Rome. Roman Emperor Claudius, who was in office 41 till 54 AD, appear in the Acts of the Apostles, Acts 18 and 2, which we are reading right now. So going to the context, there were at least 2 expulsions of Jews from Rome between the reign of the Roman Emperor Claudius. In 139 BC, the Jews were expelled after being accused of aggressive missionary efforts. Then in 19 AD, Tiberius once again expelled Jews from the city for similar reasons. So Jacob's being, aggressive, probably demonstrating, just like nowadays, what you see nowadays. If Jake goes to demonstrate, Esau pulls up with military police and all kinds of shit, man. Because why? They know who they're dealing with, man. Plus they have extreme hatred for Jake, but they know that Jake don't back up, man. You can give a curfew for 10 o'clock. Jake will be on the block, man. Jake will be on the block. You see? So, Esau was like, yeah, Jake is being aggressive, missionary efforts. Basically, they wanted to take down the Roman Empire, which they eventually did around 182 AD by Pesinius Niger, which was an Israelite. And later on, you had Septimius Severus and his son Caracalla. You can look up these names. And eventually Constantinople kicked. Let me put the fancy word. He expelled all the Edomites from Rome into the caves. But my point is, they was Israelites that had citizenship in Rome, man, but they was being expelled. They was being kicked out of Rome, man. They had to go. So what did Aquila do? Aquila went to Corinth. Still not Israel, man. Corinth is in Greece. You see? Corinth, Thessalonica, those are Greek places, man. And then you have Antioch. Antioch is in Turkey, which is called Asia Minor. So of course, the apostles had to speak to Israelite foreigners, man, because there was a lot of Israelite foreigners in the other countries round about Israel, man. You see? Let me see, where can I go more? Yeah, of course, the book of Romans. Let's go to the book of Romans, man. Romans chapter 1, verse 1. Paul, a servant of Yahushua, called to be an apostle, separated unto the gospel of the Most High. Jumping to verse 5. To all that be in Rome, beloved of the Most High, called to be saints. Grace to you and peace from the Most High our Father, and Yahweh, and the Lord Yahushua, HaMashiach. So, to all that be in Rome, beloved of the Most High, called to be saints. Israel 101, man. Psalms 50 and 5. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. Who made a covenant with the Most High by sacrifice? Israelites. Psalms 105, verse let me think. God, Psalms 105, verse 7. He is Yahweh our power. His judgments are in all the earth. He had remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations, which covenant he made with Abraham and his oath unto Isaac. I wanted to say Jacob, which is Jacob. What is Isaac again? Let me read the Hebrew of Isaac. You know, Yashachak. Yeah, Isaac, Yashachak, which means laughter. He laughs, laughter. Anyway, Psalms 105 verse 9. His covenant he made with Abraham and his oath unto Isaac, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. To Israel for an everlasting covenant. So if you go back to Psalms 50, gather my saints together unto me, those that made a covenant with me by sacrifice. See? And then we can go to Psalms 148. 48. Psalms 148, verse 14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye Yahweh. So who is this talking about? Romans 1 and 7. To all that be in Rome, beloved of the Most High, called to be saints, Israelites, called because they are Israelites, and to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai through the grace that we have received by the Most High through Yahushai. You see? What else? I believe that's basically it, man. Yeah. So again, man, Israelites that had Roman citizenship, simple, man. It's the same like how it is today, man. You have Israelites that have different citizenships, man. That's just what it is, man. Plain and simple. But it's not for them, man. It's not for them to understand these scriptures and know what it's really talking about, man. It's not given unto them. But yeah, we are here to clarify the things, break it down. Apostle was going into it. I'm gonna continue watching the video, yeah, man. I hope it was edifying, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next lesson. Shalom.